What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you guys are ready to rock. We got AJ in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Albert, Andrew, Bill, Joe, Kevin, Lauren, Lucian, Marius in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Martina, Matt. We got Rick, Rob, Tim, Wendy's in the house. You guys are piling in. BEA, beautiful. All my people in YouTube land, hostile. Good morning to you. All my lurkers in the background on YouTube. They're just not gonna say nothing all day. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. But yeah, throw some comments in YouTube. Let me know what tickers you guys are looking at. Wendy's on board already. She got the tickers come flying in. I like it. She got them flying in. All right. We got Spy. Well, first of all, we had PPI. That was really good. Really good PPI numbers. We got a very slow bullish bounce off of it, but to make the case that inflation is really going to be a problem is a tough one, I think, after PPI. And then I think they came out and revised last month's numbers, so I don't know. Just why even put it out if you're just not going to put correct numbers out? I don't know, but the revisions happen all the time, it seems like. Otherwise, we got SPY still gapping down. Most of this came from after hours, and PPI did give us the lift. We've given most of that back so far, but and I think Powell was talking today. Um, I think Powell was talking today somewhere like 9 or 8:40, something like that. So he might already be talking now, or maybe he's done. I'm not quite sure, but somebody let me know. Other than that, yeah, we'll see what today brings. Wendy says, also, would you get a protective spy put here for next month? I think Lydia got one, and I think it is a very smart thing to do. I don't know if it works out, but what I can say is you have pretty good risk reward. So today is a retest gap. I don't know if you want to do it at open today, but I think you have 2 days now where you have really high volume. You stay below all of that. So 587.84. I know she was doing it closer to this 587 zone. So maybe not right at open, but I think if you get the retest up, it might be worth looking at protective puts. I think if you start climbing above this, and what I was telling Lydia is because she wanted to kind of ride this thing like, hey, if it hits 590, I'll be out. I don't think you have to wait that long, which is I think that's what makes the protective put appealing here. So I think if you start climbing above those two VPOCs, and obviously the one yesterday when we were talking, it was still open. We didn't know where it was going to actually land, but it closed essentially right in the same zone. Once you start getting above there, I think you start breaking out of the high of yesterday. That would tell me that you're above a very good resistance. I think you're above the whole day's candle. You're also above the previous day's candle. And then I think you got your 592, 594 somewhere in the cards. I don't think you have to hold your protective puts all through this. So yeah, I think if especially if you get some kind of a bounce today, somewhere into this range, probably a good opportunity to just take some protective puts. Again, maybe we just barrel right through this resistance, and so what? You lose a little bit. But in the case that this is a crazy move that we just had up, and even if we want to come down, hit this 581, or worst case, end up closing this gap that's here, those protective puts will be magical in your portfolio. So I think the risk reward on those is pretty phenomenal. Again, I'm still relatively bullish in the market. I think this is a really good gap. I don't think this fills, but that thought of me thinking this doesn't fill is probably why I need the protective puts as well. So I'm on board with that idea. Would love to see a little bounce, which I think we could get maybe a little bit higher, but there is going to be some resistance in the way. Again, we've been through all this before, so probably could get higher, but 586.37, and then we got 587, probably about 587.11. We get through that. We're just retesting into yesterday's VPOCs and the day before's VPOC as well, so 587.84. So the closer you can get to that, I agree. I think you have very good risk reward for some protective puts at this point, but ultimately, I think this ends up breaking. I think we're just kind of pulling back. We've had two days, really essentially an inside resting candle. Targets for today would be the 587.66 zone. If we could break through that, I got 592.61 is the next target for today. If we cannot break through it and we stay under, even if we come through a retest, and then especially if we start re-breaking down the 586.56, then I do think there's really not much holding us back. I think until probably 582.34 with 581.60 on the horizon. So kind of again, just more of an inside chop day, but I would be leaning probably a little bit short, but after the open today. So see if the open gives us some kind of a bounce, looks good for bulls, and then the bulls are going to need the continuation, which they just really could not get yesterday. So we will see. Very, very small, tight candle yesterday on the SPY, though. A little bit frustrating for day trading. We just couldn't get things to make the same moves that they were making before, but every day is a little different in the market, so that's all good. You got also on the Qs, you grabbed a very good retest spot into resistance 518.28. That was a pretty fairly good spot. Again, gap down, gap and go to the bear side for today. However, you're sitting right into a good support. So 516.43. We'll see if we can hold that. If we break down, the next spot we're looking for is about 512.98. It's there, kind of weak. And then you got 511.09. That's there, kind of weak. And then really nothing until like 507. So that could be a dramatic pullback, dramatic retest. That's going to be a key level. If we start breaking 506.78, and I'm probably looking for this gap fill. There's obviously some resistance that's in the way as well, but well, we'll see. Same thing with the Qs. I think you have a little bit, and I think this one probably maybe get some bulls at open, buy this thing up, but we really have to see what happens at 518.16. If anything past that or the high of yesterday's candle, at that point I would just take the loss on the protective puts as well if you're going to go that direction. Lucius says Fed Powell 8:40 a.m. Eastern due to deliver opening remarks at the second Thomas LeBach Research Conference. So that's either going on now or he's probably done. A lot of those things he doesn't really talk too long, but let me know if he's still talking or not. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin, BTC, USD. The biddy hanging out still. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of really nothing happening after that last big major move. So I think Bitcoin is still in some consolidation zone. Again, the big mark on this one is 101,333. We start breaking down. We're probably pulling back, but even with that, we were just running into some of those moving averages. Otherwise, target for me would be back to this 97, 107 zone. Other than that, the longer we hang out here, actually, probably the more bullish it is for Bitcoin, but we're going to need the bulls to step in at some point. We're just letting some of those moving averages at this point just kind of catch up to it. And then again, the real spot I want to see break is 104,438. And I think that lifts us off for another move, especially after all this consolidation. So, kind of no man's land, just hanging out for now. So, I wouldn't, unless Bitcoin during the day does something fun, I wouldn't expect too much on really Mara, Coinbase, probably just MSTR, MISTI, all probably staying a little bit to the flat side today, or a little bit more choppy, I would assume. The one that's really looking interesting, and it was looking a little more interesting before. I think we were having a little bit deeper of a gap back, yeah, gap down. So we had TLT at $85, and it is starting to make its way back a little bit. We are now back above yesterday's VPOC, which is good. But about 15, 20 minutes ago, we were under all of this, and nothing tremendous was kind of coming out of this one. Would still looks kind of weak, but at least you got some kind of a mini. At least we got above yesterday's VPOC on TLT. It was looking a little rougher before, so starting to come back, fighting back a little bit. Real Virtual Demand says day off today. Dan, we got BTC, USD, SPY, HRL. I don't know HRL. Let me take a look at that one. HRL. Oh, Hormel. Yeah. Hormel. Got earnings coming out soon. May 29th. Other than that, typically you don't have big major days. Every now and then you could throw in a relatively decent sized candle, but even with that, I mean, here's your big candle that's going to give you a range of 41 to 30, so it's about a buck. So if you're taking a setup on this one for a day trade, your setup has to be probably relatively tight. You're still below all moving averages on this one. I think on a swing trade purpose, well, one, the first spot I would look like a really good risk to reward, at least if it breaks down here, would get you like 28.55 for an attempt, and then throwing your stop underneath this hammer from this is February 27th. Other than that, if we never get back down there, we start breaking out from here for the bullish case of things. You'd want to get above 29.53. Definitely a lot of resistance on this one, but I'm looking at still looking a little bit to the bear side, bear side, and just kind of chilling for now. So I want to get too aggressive on that one. All right, UNH. Yeah, so UNH has some moves after hours. We tried the attempt yesterday. So what I was looking for is with a little bit of a gap up. It was a gap and go yesterday. It got down into the prior day's VPOC, so somewhere around this like 318 zone. We were just kind of bouncing off of it. I'm like, yeah, gap and go. It's down a lot. Maybe you get the retest, but no cigar on this one. So this one did cost me an R, but as soon as it kind of broke down, we were just out. So not too bad. It happens. It's a good attempt. Otherwise, as soon as that kind of broke down, I'm like, yeah, it's probably going lower. The only thing really going to try to save this at this point is the low of the closing price of the prior day. If not, maybe the low wick could save us. At the end of the day, they said no, we're probably going lower. Then after hours you have the reports come out that the DOJ is investigating them, so they're probing UNH, which is not good. You had a relatively good sell-off, and a lot of that is not due to new people shorting. That's due to a lot of new people or people holding the stock just selling, because they were actually under restriction for short sales since the day before that one. They had a 10% drop. So, pretty wild move on this one. That would tell me that at least you have, and today probably I think you're open for short sells on UNH, but maybe that just all piles in. I think it still looks weak. It is a retest gap still. We're getting closer and closer. I'm gonna have to go to the weekly chart on this one, but we are getting closer and closer to the spot where I'd be interested. 247, and maybe that's the low, maybe it's not. So let's see if it comes down another $40. Even at this point on the weekly, this gap down now gets us through all of what could have been some chop, could have been some support, and we're just continuing to fly down. So I'm not ready to go bullish yet. It is a retest gap, but with all that volume on a weekly, with the new headlines, and to be fair, UNH did come out with a report that said they have not heard of this investigation. They're not even familiar with it. They've done nothing wrong, and the market doesn't care. It's still down. So at the moment, I think staying short is the way. I don't know if I want to go short down here either. You are at a little bit of a potential bounce spot, but again, I'm not as comfortable. Give me like $40 more. Give me $40 more, and I might see some UNH in the portfolio. We'll see, but that's a really good level we're approaching. Eli, Eli Lilly. Same thing. This entire sector is just getting clobbered. At least you have a little bit of a gap up on this one, so nice $7 gap up. It is a gap and go. You have some resistance right above you, so the first spot I'd watch for some is probably right around 724.48. Maybe you could run this thing into like, yeah, I probably wouldn't short there, but if you could get into like 729.76, it might be a decent spot to continue to short, but not a great close on it. At least the bulls are trying to fight back a little today. And then I think you have I already have it marked off here, but huge line in the sand on this one, somewhere around 698. Go a little higher. 699, something like that. So if probably there, we'll see what happens. If that breaks down, then you're going to see a very UNH looking chart. Nothing really holding us back from here either. Again, all that volume is now going to be some kind of resistance. I think if this one does gap, which it is gap and go today, the higher you go, the better opportunity I think you have to probably play to the short side. It's been a little tricky. You've gotten into the zone before. Bulls managed to get it saved, but you're right back into that zone once again. So we'll see on Lilly. But again, to the short side, I think is decent. I would just sort Bitcoin just kind of sitting flat. We'll have to see where Coinbase opens. Obviously, a monster candle. We still have, I think, on Monday they get into the S&P, so there's still kind of the not rumors, but trading around that story that came out. That could keep us bullish. Other than that, where we're opening on this one, I'm not a huge fan. This is definitely clearing through. And again, this one might be a little bit choppy, but you have 257.61. If we open below that, I'd like it to the short side. Biggest problem on that one is 255.46. So if we get into that, I don't know. That should be some support, but we got there yesterday, and you might see that a little bit easier to break down. We'll see. If it breaks down, you have not too far away. We've already hit that one too. So let's go to the next one. You got 251.35. Might be your target. Otherwise, you have one all the way back here, 246. That's also about halfway through this candle. I would think that you're probably trying to target this 246.65 to the downside, but you're going to want your stop above this. So I would look for maybe a high wave candle. High wave candle, give me like a hammer or a strong bull candle that I could short underneath it, and that might be the direction. But it is gap and go from yesterday, ended nice and strong. Even this did open underneath that VPOC, and the bull stepped right in. So there's going to be a little bit of, I think, a bullish edge, knowing that they're getting into the S&P on Monday, but um, it's been opening with a short feel to it. You have CSCO, Cisco. Um, Open Badminton says using the 20, 50, 100, 200 indicator. Yeah, that's these moving averages. I have the all EMAs, not SMAs. Yep, you said EMA. We'll see. We'll see. And then you want to take a look at Tesla? We can take a look at that next. We got Cisco is a pretty beautiful looking gap. Good earnings came out. So earnings per share, 4.68%. They did beat by an extra $101 million. That being said, I like this gap. I hate the spot we're gapping into, though. So be careful on this one. You're going to have a ton of resistance above you. We'll see if this one gets some kind of move higher again. Market's down. Cisco's up. Maybe you got some profit takers coming in. I think I like it better for a fade to the lower side. Give back some of those gains, and then I think your target on this one is probably going to take you into uh, I don't know. 61.97 would be my target, but then again, you have a lot of also support up here too. So maybe a small pullback. Maybe we don't actually hit the top of this little pivot. Maybe we could just get into like the 62.52, and there might be a setup to continue bullish. But again, very, very good gap. You had a whole bunch of resistance from back here. So maybe we're looking at that. If it comes in there, I'd be more interested. Otherwise, I don't know if we're gonna get caught up somewhere from some of these levels from back in February. And then again to the higher side, you're gonna have a whole bunch of from March, some resistance above you. So maybe a little bit choppy. Maybe I'd do nothing today. Stay in that zone, high wave candle. You want to take a look at Tesla, see what that one's doing today. Yeah, insane bounce, insane move from essentially I think it's a lie. I think we're down to like 215, so about 215, 216, all the way up to 350 in the matter of seemingly weeks. Getting closer to where I have a target, which is up to like 362.25. I think Tesla's longer term looking for that 360, but we just pinned right off 350 yesterday. Nice psychological hold number, getting some kind of a pullback. Most of these things probably need some kind of a dip to continue to go. But now, again, if you have like, okay, worst case scenario, you're back down to here, and let's go from this pre-market price. Right? Let's say that's your worst case scenario, and you're thinking, hey, resistance is right above us. You do have better risk reward to the downside as opposed to the higher side on this one. Unless you're thinking bigger targets. I'm still in it. I'm still riding it. So we'll see what happens. Probably not a bad idea to get some puts, protective puts. Maybe I'll look in that direction. I kind of want to do it when I got closer to 360, but all in all, not a bad location. We did have a little bit of resistance from here. Gap and go to the bear side. I don't really see any support on this one until, well, I do have an alert set for 333. That's where I was kind of looking for yesterday. See if there was a pullback. It came down, just not to my alert zone. So alert's still there. If we get 333, I'll look to play something. Otherwise, I'll probably let it do its thing. The higher it goes, close to this 347.42, that might be the zone you want to maybe take a look to short. But yeah, kind of just little in a wide range. So 333 is the first one I'm looking at. That's the one that I thought should have been a good resistance. It was. We got pinned right there at the end of May. What is that, 13th? Tuesday. Next day, nice gap up, took us over. I'm looking for 333 today to be some kind of support. If it can't hold, then I think you got more room to the downside to 323.37, and that would be another phenomenal risk reward where you could probably go stop underneath the candle from May 12th to try to get in. But I still like it in the long direction. But a lot of these things have just gone crazy, crazy, crazy. Uber, the Oobs. Uh, High wave candle yesterday. Nothing too crazy. The only thing for today though is You now have two VPOCs that we're opening under. So this is technically it's a retest gap, but really we're just all inside this candle. So if this one could get bought up, look for some type of resistance on Uber around $90.27. Otherwise, to the downside, look for some kind of support around 88.21. But I would probably need Uber to move in one of those directions first before I can really take a play. I don't really have any other reason I should go bullish or bearish at open. Um, if I had to flip a coin, I'd be going, well, I guess if you flip a coin, you can't really choose, but if I had to, I'd go bullish at open and then watch what happens up there, see if we push right back to a resistance, and that would be a short spot. Let's see, Bitcoin dipped overnight, but coming back, yeah. It's trying to stay pinned, trying. It says it's not true, crazy. Market doesn't believe them. Yeah, market doesn't care. Market is market's like, well, yeah, well, maybe that's not true, but what about the lower or no guidance that you gave us and the new CEO coming in and every other what about the drug? Like there's so many other things that just would have been just even worse if it is true. But yeah, you look at that chart, it looks rough on UNH. It's down about 50% in a couple weeks. Crazy. You got Baba is yeah, so Baba had earnings today. They are gapping down on earnings, so very, very small miss on earnings per share. They also slight miss on the revenue by 437 million. So not too crazy. Again, you're getting a gap down after a decent move up. We're holding most of those gains for now, and we are pushing into some kind of little bit of support. We'll see what happens here, but I think this one actually gets bought up. Probably at open, maybe sell off a little bit more. Look for some kind of price at like 125.80, see if we can hold that, and then I think it's probably a fade the gap, just kind of hangs out in this range for a little bit. You're gonna have all the support of those EMAs trying to push you up. We're just not at them yet, and the longer we can stay here, the better for Baba. But also notably, if you do want to if you have Baba, want some protective puts, if you can get some retest today, at least you're back in that zone again. I don't know, maybe it just piles right through and you get some crazy good news. You lose on the puts, but at least you're protected on your position. And I think you get very good risk reward. You start hitting like 135.03. That's probably where I would just be out out of it and just let the bulls continue to climb it up a little bit. But we have a 90-day pause with China. We're still negotiating. I think during the next 90 days, you still see more headlines, more details come out, and it's not a bad situation for Baba to kind of at least be held up. We got Google. Google is pushing right into the 100, and we got the 200 right above it as well. This is a retest gap. They are, I think Trump is single-handedly saving Boeing. Oh, my bad. This is Google. I was looking at the next one is Boeing. Yeah, but I do think Trump we'll look at Boeing next, but I think he is single-handedly saving that one. Google, watch out for. Really good day. I know a lot of bulls are now getting trapped in this big volume on this candle. You're going to have I think the fact if we could continue to close above this one, which we did yesterday, I think that is a very good sign for Google. It is off the lows. I know there's fears with search engines and which AI is doing it better than Google. I think Google is so diverse that that they'll still make a lot of money, even just on YouTube. YouTube, they got the Waymo thing, they got a whole bunch of other investments as well. So I think Google's fine. I think they'll figure out the search thing, the AI thing, if that is a real concern. I don't think they're going to just give up their profits to somebody else. But for today, a little bit choppy with that 100 and 200. It is gapping up, looks a little bit different than the rest of the market. I think if you get a pullback into that VPOC from yesterday, that should give you some really, really strong support. That's 165.52. And I think we have to pull back there first before we break the 100 and the 200. But it's on watch. Those bears not going to be too happy at open. I would almost, yeah, I would like to almost treat this as a gap and go, but yeah, with the 100, 200, let's see if we get a small pullback. Even a small, I'd go high wave candle on that one too if it does it. That might give us an opportunity, but I think a lot of those people who piled into the bear direction, a little bit to the trapped zone. All right, let's take a look at Boeing. Boeing, here's one with a monster recovery from what day was this? This is April 7th. So just over a month, we went from 129 all the way up to $207. Keep in mind during this entire time, anytime there was a news report on Boeing, it was always negative. And recently, we've been just getting order after order after order and news, and now you got a 200. It was 200 billion. I think it was like originally reported as 20 billion, and then they said no, 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 it's 200 billion investment for or plane order. They make like two planes a year, so good luck on the on fulfilling the orders. That's a whole different situation. Other than that, it's got all the momentum in the world. Eventually, I think this will pull back. For today, though, I'm not really sure. You are above another key level. I think right at open, you bull bears at least probably going to want to try to hold it here. So I'd also be interested in a high wave candle here. I think we're getting greedy long on this one though. Getting starting to buy Boeing up at 207.20. Let's see if we get a little pullback. It is an inside day. We're at a spot where the Bears probably want to try to hold on to. But I think if you get down to like this 204.78, I wouldn't go short on this one yet. I think it's got all the momentum right now. It's just absolutely been crushing it. So I'm not going bearish on Boeing. Maybe if we start breaking this 204, if we could get a candle close below 204.40, then we might get a little pullback into like this 186.81. Right now, the chart's not telling me to start getting protection or start getting short on Boeing. Home Depot. All these there's gaps everywhere, but so far there's nothing like a whole like yeah, I need this one. Like this is the play yet. Home Depot, I think, is also in that camp. You do have earnings coming out very, very soon on it. Other than that, you have your 100 right above you, and that's also into a VPOC of 374.62. And then I think you have 376.28 would be your 200. So we kind of just banged our head right off of that one yesterday, and then support 373.16. So that tells me there's probably a little bit of chop in here. We might just hang out kind of in this zone for another day or two, let some of the smaller time frame moving averages catch up, and then maybe we get that breakout. Otherwise, really good gap up. That is a bearish engulfing candle. It was a retest, just kind of retested a little too much. Nonetheless, just kind of coming down to a very, very good support that there was some buyers stepping in at. So maybe long term, and I don't know what just happened, but we just had a move to the downside into that zone we're talking about. So the market's listening to me. We'll see if that support holds now. But now it looks a little bit more to the if you get some bids into 372.74, we tested that once. Maybe we could break through and you have a better short opportunity to 365.66. But we'll see what happens. We'll see where this one actually wants to open. It seems a little jumpy pre-market for right now. Google's also right at the weekly 50 EMA, and that is the morning bell. So everybody YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you've not done so already. We'll see if today's a wild day. It might just be a little inside resting day. I'm not really sure, but